Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the glorious Dewmonic Abyss channel, where we have some of the finest quality content on this godforsaken website. Well, let me tell you, this morning was a rather eventful one, to say the least. As I was waiting for my coffee to brew, I took a couple sips of good old-fashioned Mountain Dew and decided to browse through my Gmail. And lo and behold, I came across this rather cursed Carpetbagger fanfiction. And today, I've decided that I'm going to be doing a dramatic reading of it. Fun fact, actually, ever since I started my channel, people have recommended that I try out Creepypasta readings. And I've done a couple videos like that on this channel. One I did with Freezing Clock Hands last year on Halloween. I'll have that linked in the description if you haven't seen it and you're curious. But a fair warning, this is probably the scariest story I've came across. So yeah, I think this would actually be perfect for a horror video. So with that out of the way, grab your popcorn, make sure you butter up that bitch and buckle the fuck up because you're about to be in for one hell of a ride. I Was the Carpetbagger's Lover by Diane. I'm furious at the way Jacob has treated me, and I think people should know about this. I've always loved wrestling, so when one of Jacob's wrestling matches came to town, as a birthday treat, my friends grouped together to get us tickets, bagging pretty much front row seats. For me, it was all about the sport. For them, more about the topless athletes. The first match got started. The lights went down, the wrestlers came out one by one, and the event began. We were all chatting away, naturally commenting on who was the most attractive of the lot. If I had to interject, I think the clear winner of that would be Mortimer Blankenship III. When suddenly Jacob jumped over the barrier right in front of us. As a bit of a laugh, I grabbed his sides and posed for a picture. I'd watched him on YouTube so many times and he was definitely up there as one of my main crushes. Standing next to him, feeling his oiled up, girthy chest, I was elated. My friends just didn't get why I was so excited. He's only really famous if you know watch YouTube. Yeah, he's not really famous at all, but I digress. So I couldn't resist tweeting about it to show off to people who would understand. Later, I was standing at the bar with my friends and I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was Jacob. I froze. Saw your tweet, he said in his Midwest drawl, which I have no idea how to do, so I apologize for that. I was mortified, especially as I'd mentioned how much I fancied him in it. But then he laughed and ran his hand down my arm before asking if I'd like a drink. We were flirting a little. I was definitely getting the vibe from him, but thought I was maybe just being presumptuous. He could be that way with everyone, I thought. Well, if he was, he'd probably be arrested by now. Let's be real here. But then he ramped things up a bit. He kept touching my arm and wrapped his arms around my waist. Then, when we finished our drinks, we had that moment where you both catch eyes and know what's coming next. He put his hand on the back of my neck and pulled me towards him for a kiss. We spent the next couple of hours just kissing and drinking at the bar. My friends had long left me to it. Yeah, I don't blame them for getting the hell out of there. Until eventually it became obvious the bar staff were desperate for us to leave so they could go home. I don't think they were desperate for you to leave so they could go home. They were desperate for you to leave so they could get this unsightly image out of their minds. All the buildup was getting to be too much for me as well. I couldn't wait to get him into bed. We stumbled out and into a taxi back to his hotel. And as soon as we got inside, that was it. He began ripping my clothes off in an almost animalistic way before pinning me to the bed and entering me hard. His man part, I don't know if I can even say that on YouTube anymore. His man part was so big and long, and that's how you know this is a work of fiction right here. He quickly took control, flipping me over into doggy style while I reached down to touch myself. We both came and he fell on top of me, dripping with sweat. Ew. What the fuck? But it wasn't over yet. There was no doubt he was an athlete, as his stamina kept him going for hours. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'd sooner believe Aaron Fechter's claim that the Carpetbagger is a superhero before I believe he's an athlete. This is not the type of image you imagine in your head when you think athlete. We tried loads of positions: missionary, anal, 69, me on top, reverse cowgirl, and because he knew exactly what he was doing, every time he touched me, I just wanted more. Yeah, that's how you can tell Diane's had a bit too many drinks here. He was constantly surprising, always changing it up. I lost count of how many times I came and I couldn't get enough. Eventually, in the wee hours of the morning, what did Greg's thought write this? We were both just too exhausted to continue. I snuck out after a few hours. I figured he was on tour and needed to reserve his energy for the next flight. I only saw him on YouTube from then on. So how about we take a moment to dissect what we just read? Obviously this is a work of fiction, or I hope this is a work of fiction, because I really do not want to believe that this type of thing could be reality. You really gotta wonder how this type of thing just comes into fruition, because this is a pretty dedicated, a weirdly dedicated troll. To actually sit there and write up this well thought out fan fiction between this narrator, who we can assume is Diane, and the Carpetbagger. I mean, that's some fucking hardcore dedication. This in itself, and I hate to even say this, but it's a work of fucking art. This is a work of art for all the wrong reasons. If I had to throw out any wacky conspiracy theories, I'd say this is Princess Bubbles regurgitating gay fanfiction between him and the Carpetbagger. And I don't know why he's emailing me his gay fanfiction, but you know, it makes for a rather entertaining video, to say the least. So yeah, I'm about to turn off Audacity and then run into the bathroom so I can bleach my fucking eyeballs.